What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Well, we're going to try to remedy that today. Welcome in. Welcome into the show. Off and running with you here on this Thursday in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes, that's your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents all across the state. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. We got something to get into today. Have y'all seen the latest cover of Sports Illustrated? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, most everything has gone digital nowadays. Most everything has gone digital. Not everything. Most everything has gone digital. Newspapers, anything print, like we're saving trees and everything. But they still print newspapers. They still print some magazines, right? And whether it's digital or not, let's be honest, it's still a big deal to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. It is. And today, Coach Prime and two of his key players are on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So I have a new JSU Sonic Boom sound clip I would like to introduce you to here on the show. Here it is.
You know what time it is.
What about? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. It's a good way to start the show, is it not? Is it not? Yeah, so hats off to Coach Prime and Jackson State on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And I got to thinking about something, and I looked it up. Research, like I'm supposed to do. And I researched something. Yeah, Bill, I am. During the show, Bill, you are our crackpot research staff.
I'm a crackpot. Wait a minute.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I made it in a compliment. I made it as a compliment. I mean, in a complimentary way. You are our crackpot research staff.
Yeah, you're a crackpot.
Non-show hours, I am our show's top-notch, top-shelf research staff. Okay, so I got some research on Jackson State football, and they, I'm pretty certain, are going to set a record this year. I say I'm pretty certain. Anyway, we'll get into that, and you're welcome to weigh in, and I hope you will. Lots of ways for you to be a part of the show as we get started here today with you on this Thursday. Usually Thursdays this time of year, kind of slow. Baseball hadn't started yet. We're kind of in between. We're in the summer, summer Thursdays, sometimes Wednesdays too. Now, yesterday was not a slow day at all on the show. Sometimes Thursdays can be. But we'll see where we go with this. And I just thought about it today when I saw the news, the cover of Sports Illustrated. There's Deion Sanders, Travis Hunter, the top player, the recruit, the 5-star, and Shedeur Sanders, are quarterback. And I saw that, and I went back, started watching some of their games. Anyway, got excited about it and thought, as I saw the panning shot of Veterans Memorial Stadium, it was during that game last year. It was last year, during one of the games last year, that panning shot of the stadium as the band led them in the JSU spell out.
You know what time it is.
And you could just see across, and it panned around. It's like it's a full place. I mean, it's 58, 60,000 people there. It's incredible. And it's just a really neat atmosphere. And so it sparked a thought in my head. And we're going to get to that. So if you're on the live stream watching on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to comment. Richard said, hey, or he actually said howdy over there on YouTube. Back at you. Sven's a big fan of the Sonic Boom. He likes it. Danny gave us a Hail State and said he's from Ringgold, Georgia. He's on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in that way. And Sven, I think you're right. He says, Hail State, everybody. There's no reason to believe that Jackson State will have less people in their stadium. No, I think they're going to have more. Their excitement levels, dare I say all-time high, but it just feels like it feels that way. And I am not familiar with, some of those days when, Jackson State was running Walter Payton and others out there to know what it was like back in the day when they were playing against Willie Totten and Jerry Rice and those teams, and when they were playing against Steve McNair, who Andre called in yesterday and told us about being at that game, but still I think for Jackson State football, you're talking about an all-time benchmark right now in terms of excitement, hype. You're coming off a year where you only lost 2 ball games, and one of those was in a bowl game in the last game of the year, a 1-loss regular season. I guess it was 11-win, 1-loss regular season. So, and then when I say hype, I mean that in a complimentary way too. When you look, it's led to getting players and transfers, and there are more and more talking about and including Jackson State in their decisions. It's really incredible to look at the momentum. I think that's the best word to describe everything going on with them right now is momentum. Wouldn't you agree? So you can text me on the Country Pleasing text line, Country Pleasing Sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. It's a 601 number. Text me at 885-ESPN, 885-3776. That's the number to text the show. And call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059, 601-995-1059.
So, Matt, you know how we folks that live here in Jackson can tell when there's a big crowd at the stadium?
How's that?
Traffic is a nightmare.
I mean, that's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's so much around that area. The hospital's there, and there's lots of state offices around that area. There's no place to park.
Yeah.
And the traffic is a nightmare, but it's a good thing when they've got 60,000 people in the stands watching a game.
No doubt. Well, and
they do need to come up with some more parking.
Some more parking, or maybe some way to shuttle people in.
Yeah, they do some of that too, because they were at one time parking folks down at the fairgrounds and busing them over there for things.
Yeah.
Which helps a lot.
Right.
Still, then the buses have problems getting there because the traffic is a nightmare.
Well, and look, Bill, see that leads right into what I was looking at. Is this tweet came out from the 1400 Club, and it's a Twitter account and an online entity that kind of covers Jackson State. And I think this might have actually been yesterday when they put it out there, but you can go look. It's one of their recent tweets. They are at 1400. That's the number 1400, and then club with the letter K. But it's a graphic right here. And it's talking about, other FCS teams getting up on Jackson State's level in terms of attendance, Bill. But this was average 2021 football attendance. Okay. And it's a whole list of probably anywhere between 20 and 25 schools that Jackson State is at the top of. Last year, in terms of average attendance, Jackson State averaged 42,293 at their home games, according to this. And I looked it up. Some others have reported that. Here's the thing, though. These other 20 or 25 teams on the list, it's not FCS teams that Jackson State outdrew. It's all FBS teams.
FBS teams, yeah.
Listen, y'all. Okay, without looking at the graphic, I'm not going to give you the exact numbers. I'll give you a few once we get through the list. But here's what I'm pointing out to you. It's just eye-opening. That's why I retweeted it with the big eye emoji. It's eye-opening. So this is last year. We've known for years that Jackson State every year for years, even when they didn't have great teams, they were leading the FCS in attendance, in average attendance. But this past season, Jackson State averaged a little over 42,000 per game. That's more average attendance than the following schools: Rutgers from the Big 10, TCU, Big 12, Maryland, Big 10, Arizona, Georgia Tech, Cal, Cincinnati. Y'all, Cincinnati, who played in the playoff.
In the playoffs, yeah.
Jackson State outdrew, Cincinnati, at their home games. Stanford, 2 Cincinnati, 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 2 Cincinnati Illinois, Boston College, Syracuse, Northwestern, Oregon State, Wake Forest,
Yeah,
Kansas.
These are not little schools there, Matthew.
Washington State, Vanderbilt. Okay, an SEC school, Vandy, but Vandy.
Yeah, Vandy.
They outdrew Duke. There's your list, or a list, and there's going to be some others, but there's a list. Okay,
big schools.
There's several different ways you can get at this for Jackson State. Okay, there's some direct comparisons of average attendance at some other schools from Power 5 conferences. All right, Jackson State's an FCS school outdrawing them. Here's the other thing. Look at the average attendance across the country. All right, in the FBS. This is Football Bowl Subdivision, FBS, a level above Jackson State. Average attendance across the country last year was a little over 39,000. So, in other words, Jackson State averaged 3,000 people more than the average across FBS football. So, we're not talking about comparing them just to Alabama or comparing them to, Ohio State, but the average at that level. And in FCS, on the level that Jackson State plays, the football championship subdivision, which they don't participate in the FCS playoffs, we know that, but still, when you look at that level, the average attendance across the country is a little under 7,000 people per game. So they're just in a different stratosphere in terms of attendance. Walton on the Country Pleasing text line says, currently living in the Jackson area, it is exciting to see folks excited. There's definitely a buzz around here, and he's talking about Jackson State. Now, anytime you start bringing up Jackson and attendance and growth and games and everything, somebody always mentions crime. And, metro areas, and sure, there is if you look at Jackson Metro, it can be bad. I mean, especially depending on what you compare it to. But Sven's, we're talking about football, and Sven says JSU is an attraction, period. And they just kind of are, aren't they? So when you look at the whole ball of wax from, Deion Sanders a coach now, his son's a quarterback. They're going to put 5-star player on the field everybody's excited about, who is one of the guys on the cover of Sports Illustrated today, who had a great game in the spring game, a lot of excitement about him, but other transfers are getting a lineman in from Tennessee, a couple of players from South Carolina, including a receiver. All of this building their team up off a team that won 11 games in the regular season last year. All of those things. And their games being that, you look at last year, their games being that you were coming off the year before where you didn't get to have a fall season, in Deion Sanders' first year because of COVID. So there was an extra oomph to, we want to be there for this one because we're finally going to have a fall season. There was also the deal where Deion Sanders' teams had played in the spring before and had lost a couple of games, including like drama, like losing to Alabama State in Montgomery, and Alabama State pulled the stunt on their video board. They made fun of Coach Prime, and it made all these headlines. Well, you're going to host them, and, you had a huge crowd for that. And then not to is maybe even bearing the lead, but the entertainment value of the games with the bands at halftime and the sonic boom at the top of that list. It's just the whole ball of wax. They got everything going for them right now. I don't know, momentum. That's the best word. They have momentum and lots of it. It's another way to say they have everything going their way right now. So are they going to set a record? Are they going to set an attendance record? Now that's one thing I didn't look up. And Bill, I don't even know where. I don't know where that record would be held and how far it would go back to find. Find a season where it's like the single season attendance record for Jackson State. But I would think last year had to be it. I don't know it, but I'm just kind of assuming that last year had to be it. 42,293 average. On that list, by the way, Rutgers, so Jackson State averaged more attendance than Rutgers. And Rutgers up there in New Jersey, close to some very populated areas. Rutgers averaged 39,630 at their games. TCU, we know where they are, Fort Worth. They averaged 39,529 at their games. Yes, one thing you see there is that the location of a place, we see it in baseball too. The location of a place in relation to a highly populated area does not necessarily line up with support. Georgia Tech in downtown Atlanta averaged 37,515 at their home games. In the ACC now, you're playing Clemson and NC State and all these folks in Georgia. Okay? And Jackson State's outdrawing you. Cincinnati, we talked about them. They're in the AAC, but they're in that huge area. Cincinnati, densely populated city. Great team. Played in the playoff. And Cincinnati averaged over 37,000 at their home games. 37,000 people is what they averaged at their home games. All right. Hey, Will commented on this on Facebook, and Will, I'm going to pop it up on the screen so the people who are watching the live stream can see those numbers. Now, are these high attendances for games at Veterans Memorial? I mean, I guess that's what you're giving me there. Is individual game attendance highs?
I was just looking at that too. Yeah. They had like 53,578 for a game there in 2021, and then they had 60,000 for one game. So they had
yeah, okay. So what he sent me there is good. Yeah, okay. He just confirmed it on Facebook.
Yeah.
So what he's sending me is high attendance records for Memorial Stadium. So 1981. This is in Veterans Memorial Stadium in Jackson. 1981, Mississippi State played Southern Miss, and they reported 64,000 and change there.
And you had to squeeze them in for that because it doesn't hold that many.
Yeah, right. Mississippi Valley State versus Alcorn in 84. That would be
that was a big one.
That'd be a Jerry Rice game, 84. Ole Miss versus Arkansas there in 81 drew 63,000. The Egg Bowl in 1980 there drew 62,000. Jackson State versus Alcorn 1996. You had 62,000 and change in attendance. Jackson State versus Alcorn 94. That would have been the Steve McNair's final game as a college player for Alcorn. That's that game that Andre was talking about yesterday. And Will looked it up, and it had 62,512 people there for that one. And in the 81 Egg Bowl between State and Ole Miss, you had 61,000. So it kind of gives you ballpark of what you can put in there. Okay, and again, what we're doing is an average of the home games for Jackson State. Now, here's the thing about that, okay, y'all? So hold that number there kind of in your head. Jackson State averaging just over 42,000 people per home game last year. Also last year, Mississippi State, Davis-Wade Stadium, average attendance per home game, 48,817. And that's less than 80% of State's capacity in their stadium. But, State just averaging just 6,000 more per home game than Jackson State did. Now, last year was a big year in attendance for Ole Miss. Ole Miss in Oxford last year averaged 56,000 and change per home game. And that's 88% of their stadium. So they average a good bit more there at the Vault. If you go back to 2020 doesn't count because you had COVID. So go back to 2019, a normal year. In 2019, State averaged 56,000 per game at Davis-Wade. Ole Miss averaged 48,000 per game at Vaught-Hemingway. So like from 19 to 2021, State and Ole Miss just kind of flip-flop. One went up, one went down. They were kind of in the same ballpark, but still both of them just a few more than Jackson State averaged this past year. in their home games. And that was just the first full year for Deion Sanders as the head coach, because 2020 was his first year, right? And I mean, I know State and Ole Miss kind of in the same boat. The point I'm making there is, again, if you look back at the last couple of full seasons, this past year, Jackson State averaging only 6,000 people less per home game than State did. Talking about an SEC school just up the road. You go back to 2019 before Kiffin got there, Ole Miss's average that year dropped down to 48,000. Again, just a few people, frankly, in a sea of people, more than Jackson State's averaging in its home games this past year, and Jackson State's just getting started. And there's no question that they're going to average more per home game this year. The reason I'm pointing all this out is because, and you can see the title if you're on the live stream, I believe with everything that's in me, and Bill's talking about having the ability to handle it from a parking standpoint, but with all the momentum and all the winning last year and the quarterback's back and he added this 5-star recruit and all the hype, I really believe if they averaged 42,000 a game last year at Jackson State for their home games, they may average 52,000 this year. I don't think that's at all overestimating it. They may average more than that. But to say that they may put 10,000 people more in there per home game, I honestly don't think it's that crazy. It's a lot of people, I know. But you just never seen momentum like this for that program. Never have seen it before. Stick around.
Take care of your property with equipment.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Get this handsomely designed Timex Self Wind. Is priced at only $14.95.
Hey guys, here at Davini, here's something we've got going on all our trailers. So we carry Orange Line, we carry Premier, we carry Performance, and we carry Texas Bragg. So all different sizes, shapes, configurations, from 20-foot trailers to dump trailers to 12-foot trailers, 10-foot trailers, we've got it all here at Davini. We not only sell trailers outright, but we also have a rent-to-own program. You guys could come in, 10% down, no credit check. You can leave out today with a trailer at a low price, monthly payment, no credit check at all. So you guys come check out our trailers. We have a lot of them here and they're ready to go.
In insurance, it's our job to handle storms. And though coronavirus is a storm different than most, the agents, adjusters, and employees at Farm Bureau Insurance stand ready to extend a hand, love our neighbors, and work earnestly to serve our customers and communities. Our mission hasn't changed, so our work does not stop. If you need us, call your local agent, use the claims hotline, or visit us online. Be safe, stay healthy, keep Mississippi strong, and go with the home team.
I don't like to say house divided. I like to say we have best of both.
Growing up in Alabama obviously puts college football in your lap at an early age. You know, you go to even preschool and kids are like, who do you pull for? Alabama or Auburn.
So I was elected homecoming queen in the year 2000 at Ole Miss, and that was a really fun experience. It garnered a nickname for me from Matt. He calls me HQ, and I call him QB a lot. So
my name's Matt Wyatt. I host the Matt Wyatt radio show and podcast, and I host it in a studio in my house, and I've been doing that now for about 3.5 years. We used to have cable. And the biggest issue was when there would be a disconnect, and at times it would do that. I'd be mid-sentence, we're in this big discussion about some ball game, and, it's gone. Annabeth can tell you, my excitement was genuine when I started seeing the C-Spire trucks up and down the street.
He was like a kid on Christmas morning. He's like, did you see that? C-Spire is in the neighborhood.
So the day that he installed that, I started uploading. And I watched those 6 audio files go, just one after the other. And it's taken away a lot of the little stressors that would add up.
And it's just made everything better.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, homecoming queen. Good to see you. Country Pleasin' Sausage. It's the best I've ever eaten, and I believe you'll feel the same way if you try it. Some of my favorite flavors are jalapeno and cheddar, pepper jack and green onion, and of course the original smoked sausage flavor. Look for Country Pleasin' in grocery stores and Walmart all over the Southeast and online at countrypleasin.com. New King James Bible, Matthew chapter 4. What is a follower of Jesus? Matthew chapter 4, 18 and 19. Terry Fant, the pastor at Hickory Ridge, said this, and I think he's exactly right. Verse 18, and Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brothers, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Then he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. They immediately left their nets and followed him. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. So if you and I are following Jesus, what does it mean to be a follower of Jesus? We're following his teachings. We're studying that. We look to him for everything. We understand who he is, the magnitude of what he is and what he's done for us. But he says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And kind of like Terry said, if you're not fishing, you're really not following. Think on that today. All right, here we go. Let's keep going.
Play it, man.
Yeah, I might be able to pick up a guitar and hang in there with that guy, whoever that is. Whatever that is right there is not all that difficult. And that's why I might be able to hang in there. Welcome back to the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Staying connected to you because of C Spire. Now, shoot me a text, Country Pleasin' text line, 885-3776. Got it? That's a 601 number. 885-3776. If you have a hard time remembering that, it's just 885-ESPN. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, Bill, shoot me straight. Sure enough, like, say, hey, that's too much if you think maybe I overshot it. But if they average, I'm just looking at the momentum for Jackson State football, all the talk and the hype and the build up, the recruiting, the transfers, Sports Illustrated covers, everything. And I'm going, if last fall, if they averaged 42,000 per home game, they're going to exceed that this year. It's just a question of how much. I mean, could they average 50,000 per home game? I mean, if you're talking about anywhere between 8,000 to 9,000 more people there and parking in and around Veterans Memorial per home game. I mean, do you think it supports that? You think there are that many more people?
I think they could because, first of all, they won the SWAC, then they played a bowl game. So that's going to inspire folks to want to go see this team. Plus the recruits.
Yeah.
You're bringing in, one of the best players in the country.
Right.
Yeah. People, I think they could probably get there. Yeah.
I wonder what like tickets cost. Because what I'm trying to figure out in my head, this is, again, you're just basically grasping at straws here without talking to somebody who kind of knows this information already or maybe has researched it. But what I'm thinking, Bill, is you're going to have people who are willing to drive from farther away to come to the games, as opposed to you're going to have a few more. You're going to have a few more people, I think, Jackson State fans and others who are going to go, drive from Tupelo to Jackson to watch them play. Going to drive up from the coast to watch them play. Buy those tickets. Instead of going to one home game, you're going to have a bunch of those folks that are going to try to go to more home games. That'll double up on the number of games they're going to. Now, the only question is there an offset with the current economy? Okay, and I'm talking about the whole thing. When we talk about gas prices, let's see what those are this fall. Somebody told me yesterday they're going to come down. Well, I hope so, because if they don't, maybe that factors in across the country, not just here in Mississippi. But under normal circumstances, I would just think they're going to see an attendance increase, not a decrease. And then that's my thing is like, okay, if we're talking about an extra 9,000 to 10,000 people, get them up to 50,000 average, where are those 9,000 to 10,000 more people this year coming from? Is it pretty much still Jackson Metro? I wouldn't think so. It's going to come from a little bit farther area, farther distance. And then, Bill, all right, they already get crowded. It's packed. They're averaging 42,000 per home game. It means they've had some with more, some with less. But if we, on average, if we send another 8,000 to 9,000 people down there around the stadium and are parking around the stadium, let's just say on average, you know, again, if we're sending 8,000 to 9,000 more people into the stadium on average, that's going to be at least 2,000 to 3,000 more vehicles in that area. Can the area handle that?
Well, it's going to be tough, but they'll figure out a way to do it. But I just looked up the season ticket price for general admission is $55.
Okay. That's season ticket.
That's season ticket, and that's for general admission.
Okay.
And the limited number of stadium club season tickets are also available and can be purchased for $500 per seat.
Okay. And that would be for the whole season.
Mm-hmm. Right. So $55 general admission for the whole season.
That's a good deal. Okay, because someone just texted us that for one game, JSU game last year at Veterans Memorial, general admission was $25, reserve was $35. So, and if you just go ahead and get a season ticket, you're telling me for all the home games is $55 general admission.
So there you're saving money on the ticket so you can afford the gas.
Right. If you do the season ticket thing, you're buying all the games for the cost of what it would get you if you bought 2 individual games, according to this, ticket price.
Yeah, they want you to buy those season tickets if possible.
Sure, absolutely. They incentivize that, and they should. And they will, and everybody does. That's the way they should do it. I wanted to read this too. Okay, Will put this on Facebook. He said, in the spring of 2013, Jackson State unveiled a proposal for a 50,000 seat. I remember this. For a 50,000 seat, $200 million domed stadium that would also house the Tigers basketball team, concerts, special events, all that. And in addition to seating 50,000 for football, it holds 17,000 for basketball, 21,000 for concerts, and includes 75 skyboxes for rental. The JSU Sports Hall of Fame would have been located on the first floor, according to what they proposed. Legislature says no to the stadium in April 2022. And so they, turn that down. Thing is, where would they put it? That's some stuff that I don't know.
Yeah, they were talking about putting it closer to the campus, but they'd have to go in there and get some of that land, and that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's always interesting. And I mean, air quotes interesting. And if not
interesting, because there are people that live there.
Right. That's what I was going to say. If not contentious, you start sort of annexing people's property in order to build something like that. But, and for some of the things that people talk about, it necessitates day games. There it is. You're going to play at the Vet. You're going to put 50,000 people down there. We're going to play in the daytime. We're not playing night games. That's just kind of the way it is. Now, Joseph mentioned here, he commented, he said, Matt, why wouldn't Jackson State want to play in the playoffs instead of the bowl game? I'd want a ring rather than a hat and a T-shirt for a bowl win. And we kind of went over that some back when it was happening at the end of the year, at the end of the season. And for me, I had to get educated on. I still don't know that I know every, as the Bible says, jot and tittle of that story. But my understanding was that it went back to sort of historically SWAC teams. They play each other all year long, and you'd have your best SWAC team, and some of them went to the playoffs and would just get thumped and just get whipped by these FCS teams in the FCS playoffs. And so they got out of that. Just started having their bowl games and stuff. But I'm kind of like you. I think now the bowl game thing last year, even though Jackson State lost a game, was a heck of a deal. I mean, outstanding attendance, a lot of attention. And that's fine. And shoot, they may, I think we discovered in talking through that last year too, that they earn a much bigger check in playing that bowl game than anything they would make financially doing the FCS playoffs. But
it also shows you how well the Jackson State fans travel.
I know it.
They really showed up.
Remember what I told you about? We were coming back from Alabama to Mississippi. We were coming across I-20. So we were on I-20 coming into Mississippi through the Meridian area and then on over to Jackson and on over to Vicksburg. So we were traveling east to west across Mississippi on I-20 the day after the Jackson State Bowl game in Atlanta. And I mean, we had car after car after, it was a caravan of cars with JSU tags that were just vroom, vroom, vroom. Apparently I was driving slow because we saw a bunch of them pass us on the highway that they were trying to get back home. Yeah. And that's it. It is a money thing. Somebody was texting. That's what I remembered about the playoffs versus playing the Celebration Bowl. Somebody texted me and says, we don't go to the playoffs anymore because we lose money doing that. And that's what I think. You're traveling all over creation to get to those games and play. Some of the places you would go if you travel in FCS playoffs, you're playing in front of, like we said, about 2,000 to 3,000 people. You play the Celebration Bowl, you get a great big check, and they put, 65,000, 70,000 people in the dome in Atlanta? I mean, it's a humongous difference. Makes a lot of sense. And here's the other thing, too. Okay, I was, this is selfish, all right, but I'm just letting you in on it. Selfishly, I went and had to look at their schedule because, my man Kobe has been calling the show for ever since JSU hired Coach Prime, which they didn't get to play in the COVID fall. They played in the COVID spring, but then had a real season last year. And so a little more than a year, he's been calling me saying, hey, look, Matt, I've got seats. If you want to come to a game, let me know. And it's not an excuse. It's just this regular thing with me. It's like, well, I'm doing radio for Mississippi State, and it's all dependent on that. We get one open date a year, and it's hard to tell the homecoming queen, hey, we get one open date, but I'm leaving to go to a football game just to watch one. But I went ahead and looked, okay, and this year, the game later in the season when Jackson State hosts Southern from Baton Rouge in Jackson on October the 29th, we, Mississippi State, don't have a game, and I just think it's time.
All right, Kobe.
For me to tell Kobe, hey, listen, count me in. If you got an extra one for that game, count me in. I'm coming. I'm going to the game because I want to see it and experience the whole thing.
That'd be a good one, too. That'd be a good game.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah, sure would. Sure would. All right. We will have the countdown of 90 teams in 90 days next. Team number 86. We're 86 days away from the first Saturday in September. That's coming up. Stick around.
We'll be right back.
A better way to put words on paper. A remarkable electric typewriter. The IBM Selectric. This is what makes it different. An ingenious printing element that works faster than the eye can see.
What is a follower of Jesus? Matthew chapter 4, 18 and 19, verse 18. And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brothers, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Then he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. They immediately left their nets and followed him. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. We look to him for everything. We understand who he is, the magnitude of what he is and what he's done for us. But he says, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And kind of like Terry said, if you're not fishing, you're really not following. Think on that today.
The IBM Selectric is versatile, too. From many different snap-on, snap-off elements, you can select the best type style for the job and be ready to type again in seconds.
Country pleasing sausage. It's the best I've ever eaten, and I believe you'll feel the same way if you try it. Some of my favorite flavors are jalapeno and cheddar, pepper jack and green onion, and of course the original smoked sausage flavor. Look for Country Pleasing in grocery stores and Walmart all over the Southeast and online at countrypleasing.com. My favorite coffee in the world is from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. My friend Dan the Coffee Man and his crew keep me caffeinated with the best flavors and blends that you're going to find anywhere, like Campfire Blend, Magnolia, and the classic New Albany Blend. Try it. Go to highpointroasters.com today and order some. You won't regret it.
Hey guys, it's Jonathan over here at Davini. Just going to show you a new tractor we just got in. So not only do we offer a full line of Kubota, New Highland, Toro, new equipment, we also carry lots of used stuff. So we just got this one in. This is a Kubota M7060 low hours, even got Bigfoot on the side of it. Not only new stuff, we do carry a lot of used equipment that goes through our shop, save some money, from buying something new. But check us out on our website, www.davini.com. We keep a full list of everything we've got used on there, as well as some new specials too. But yeah, check us out, man. Check us out if you guys are looking for something used.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
In insurance, it's our job to handle storms. And though coronavirus is a storm different than most, the agents, adjusters, and employees at Farm Bureau Insurance stand ready to extend a hand, love our neighbors, and work earnestly to serve our customers and communities. Our mission hasn't changed, so our work does not stop. If you need us, call your local agent, use the claims hotline, or visit us online. Be safe, stay healthy, keep Mississippi strong, and go with the home team.
My name's Matt Wyatt. I host the Matt Wyatt radio show and podcast, and I host it in a studio in my house, and I've been doing that now for about 3.5 years. We used to have cable, and the biggest issue was when there would be a disconnect, and at times it would do that. I'd be mid-sentence, we're in this big discussion about some ball game, and it's gone. Annabeth can tell you, my excitement was genuine when I started seeing the C-Spire trucks up and down the street. And
like a kid on Christmas morning. He's like, did you see that? C-Spire is in the neighborhood.
So the day that he installed that, I started uploading, and I watched those 6 audio files go, just one after the other. And it's taken away a lot of the little stressors that would add up.
And it's just made everything better.
Thanks, Bill.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Homecoming Queen. Good to see you. Here we go. Rolling along with you. Somebody unnamed texter who's a Jackson State fan, hit us up on the country pleasing text line at 885-3776, 601 number. Repeat after me, 885-3776. It says, please come to Jackson State for the JSU Southern game. It'll change your life. 60,000 guaranteed, especially after last year's game. Yes. A little bit of drama in last year's game, wasn't it? Well, and see, it's October. That's Jackson State's game on October the 29th. And that happens to be Mississippi State's open date. And, normally a little bit of a tough sell again on the home front to tell the homecoming queen, hey, listen, I've been gone every weekend and on the road and stuff, but I'm going to a game. But here's the thing.
Start buttering somebody up.
Yeah. Or figuring out some special plans, right?
There you go.
We may just all go stay in Vicksburg that weekend or something.
Yeah,
but see, the previous 2 weeks, October 15th, State, we are at Kentucky in Lexington. Followed by the next week on October 22nd, we are at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So it's 2 straight road games for us before the open date. But a road game in Tuscaloosa ain't much like a road game. It's not far at all. Just drive over there, do the game, drive right back home. Ain't no big deal. And then you have the open. And the thing is, October 29th, Jackson State hosting Southern. State's open. And the next 3 weeks, State has back-to-back-to-back home games. Hosting Auburn on November 5th, hosting Georgia on November 12th, hosting East Tennessee State on November 19th, the week before the Egg Bowl. So we need to make it happen.
Yeah, I say start working on it now. You should be ready by then.
Yeah.
It's probably going to take you that long to convince her.
Hey, and for all of you Philadelphians, look at this right here on my phone, my handy-dandy iPhone from C-Spire. Philip Prince is trying to call me back right now this very minute. You remember Philip from Philadelphia, Arc Basketball Academy. They are not just, they are doing the Lord's work. They are winning souls. As he says, they're using sports to introduce people to God, Big G. And I called him.
G.
Yeah, and I called him
G.
the Big G. And I called him earlier, and he didn't answer, and he's just calling me back during the middle of the show. So any of y'all, White Denzel, some of y'all that have Philip's number, text him and tell him stop bothering me while I'm on the air, and tell him I'm picking on him on the air since he tried to call me back while the radio show's on. I'll call him back in a bit. We've got the countdown, 90 teams in 90 days. Today will be team number 86. We are 86 days away from the first Saturday in September. So that's coming in just a second or two. I want to get to a text or two here. Zachary from Independence says, SWAC newcomer FAMU, FAMU, Florida A&M. FAMU participated in the FCS playoffs last year and got handled in the first round by McNeese pretty handily. Yes, they got whipped in the first round. And that was the thing because that was their first year in the SWAC and they had a pre-existing deal. Maybe that was part of their deal. They could choose one or the other or stay in the playoffs by coming over and joining the SWAC. And we kind of talked about that some last year. But that's absolutely true. And that, by the way, will be Jackson State's opening opponent, just like it was last year. They played each other in the season opener down there in Miami. Looks like that's scheduled again this year. And so that's, if today's 86 to the first Saturday in September, that'll be in 87 days because they are playing each other on Sunday, September the 4th, or at least that's what's scheduled, a 2 p.m. game on Sunday, September 4th on ESPN2. FAMU and Jackson State season opener. This year on Jackson State's schedule, this is not chronological order, but if you look at home games this year in Jackson for Jackson State, Grambling and Mississippi Valley State back-to-back in late September. They will host Campbell, the Camels, Campbell and Southern in back-to-back weeks in late October. And then they have the home game with Alabama A&M in November. Road games this year, or at least away from Jackson, they'll play Florida A&M in Miami. They'll play... Well, is Tennessee State still on schedule? I thought they took that game off. I don't know if it's still there or not, but they normally play them in Memphis. It's scheduled week 2, but I thought I saw where maybe they replaced that game with something else. But anyway, they go to Alabama State in Montgomery this year. They go to Bethune-Cookman. And then in November, they'll go to Texas Southern. And then they'll play at Alcorn in the final game of the year. Or at least that's what it says on the schedule that I'm looking at. And we did get some, so the GOAT, and that's Jackson State's deal, the word the GOAT on YouTube commenting saying they are playing Tennessee State one last time this year in Memphis. So that'll be a big deal up there in Memphis in week 2. He also confirmed that Southern is the biggest game. And a little earlier in the show, he said, let's go JSU. We should sell out every game, maybe not Valley, but everybody else. Yes. If you sell them out, then, like I said, you average 42,000 and change this year at your home games. That number's going way up. And we're talking parking and crowding, but it's be a big deal. Hotels are really going to benefit, restaurants, all that right around there. All right, let's hit it. 90 teams in 90 days. Let's do the countdown.
Defense! Woo! Shoot this thing!
Set your watch for 90.
It won't be long. 90 days, Jerry! When you hold your hot.
Yeah! 90 teams in 90 days. Today is team number 86. We are 86 days away from the first Saturday in September. And team number 86 on the list from the Pac-12. They didn't used to be there. They're in the Pac-12 now, though. That would be the Colorado Buffaloes. All right, that's Colorado's fight song. It is what it is. And Colorado, a 4-win football team last year in the Pac-12. They went 4-8, 3-6 in their conference. And we'll get to that. This year, Colorado starts the year 3 straight weeks in non-conference, and then they play 9 conference games in the Pac. But their season opener is actually on Friday, September the 2nd. So they're going to play in 85 days. They're going to play on a Friday night late. It'll be televised on ESPN. So that first big weekend of college football, they'll start a few games a week before the first big weekend on Friday night. I know we'll be high school footballing it around here, but if you're not at a game, TCU at Colorado will be on TV that first Friday night, September 2nd on ESPN, late kickoff. Then week 2 and 3, they go to Air Force and they go to Minnesota. So tough start for Colorado. Then they jump into conference play in the last weekend in September when they host UCLA. The month of October for Colorado looks like this. At Arizona, hosting Cal. At Oregon State, hosting Arizona State. Then their games in November are hosting Oregon, back-to-back road games at USC and at Washington, which would be really tough in November. And then Colorado's going to finish the year by hosting Utah. Here's the thing about Colorado. Anytime Colorado football comes up, this is what I think about Colorado. 1, beautiful, beautiful setting out there. The stadium, everything, beautiful, number 1. Number 2, excellent, classic, black and gold college football uniforms. They hadn't changed them a whole lot over the years, of gold helmets, all that stuff. Okay. And I am a little biased there because I grew up in Russellville, Alabama. The Russellville Golden Tigers, they're black and gold. I always thought it looked great. So Colorado. 3, I think about Cordell Stewart. Brian, what was the guy's name? Brian Westbrook, right? And Cordell Stewart. They win a national championship. Remember the Hail Mary play with Cordell Stewart. It's a highlight that should never go away. They had some great teams back then. I always had to think of those things. Those things come to mind. Those historical things come to mind. Recency in college football for Colorado has not been great. But more than any of that, the Buffalo. What's his name? Ralphie?
Yep. Ralphie. I was going to say, that's what I always think of as that fantastic mascot.
The mascot. A live buffalo on a rope.
Yep. I want to see him and the Longhorn in the same stadium.
I mean, Bill, the thing about it is, okay, the buffalo obviously is fairly well trained. Ralphie is fairly well trained of how to run across there because they put a rope around him. And my thing is, what good is the rope? Just take the rope off.
Yeah,
this is a live buffalo. You ain't leading him anywhere on a rope. Anywhere that thing wants to go, he's going. You're not stopping him or even making him hesitate by pulling on a rope. So why do we have a rope?
Yeah.
Just get rid of the rope. Make it really interesting.
Try to round him up afterwards. Yeah.
But look, I'm just telling you, we can do a top 5 live mascots.
Mascot.
We can do a top 10. This is a top 3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Ralphie the live buffalo at Colorado is a top 3 mascot. And then I like the eagle at Auburn, and I like the steer at Texas. That buffalo, man.
Longhorn. Oh, yeah.
That buffalo's hard. I like that razorback up at Arkansas, too, now. All right, that's hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming up in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Nowadays, more families than ever before are saving their good times in movies. And now Kodak has made showing your movies even easier with the new Brownie automatic movie projectors.
If you see me wearing a Mississippi State hat or shirt, maybe the classic M/S logo or the retro walking bully, it most likely came from the MSU Golf Course Pro Shop. They have the best stuff and the widest selection of gear that I've found for State fans. So go by and see them on Highway 182 or call them at 325-3028. They are Hail State GC on Twitter and Instagram.
They thread themselves automatically. Watch. Right onto the take-up reel. With this model, you can stop the action or reverse it like this. for crowd-pleasing comedy effects.
I don't like to say house divided. I like to say we have best of both.
Growing up in Alabama obviously puts college football in your lap at an early age. You know, you go to even preschool and kids are like, who do you pull for? Alabama or Auburn.
So I was elected homecoming queen in the year 2000 at Ole Miss, and that was a really fun experience. It garnered a nickname for me from Matt. He calls me HQ, so, and I call him QB a lot, so.
My name's Matt Wyatt. I host the Matt Wyatt radio show and podcast, and I host it in a studio in my house, and I've been doing that now for about 3.5 years. We used to have cable, and the biggest issue was when there would be a disconnect, and at times it would do that. I'd be mid-sentence, we're in this big discussion about some ball game, and you know, it's gone. Annabeth can tell you, my excitement was genuine when I started seeing the C-Spire trucks up and down the street. And
like a kid on Christmas morning. He's like, did you see that? C-Spire is in the neighborhood.
So the day that he installed that, I started uploading, and I watched those 6 audio files go, I mean, just one after the other. And it's taken away a lot of these, the little stressors that would add up.
And it's just made everything better.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, homecoming queen. Good to see you.
In insurance, it's our job to handle storms. And though coronavirus is a storm different than most, the agents, adjusters, and employees at Farm Bureau Insurance stand ready to extend a hand, love our neighbors, and work earnestly to serve our customers and communities. Our mission hasn't changed, so our work does not stop. If you need us, call your local agent, use the claims hotline, or visit us online. Be safe, stay healthy, keep Mississippi strong, and go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
This model shows a whole half hour of movies without interruption. This one weighs less than a telephone. But don't let that compact size fool you. It shows your movies sharp and clear. Prices start at less than $55 or as little as $6 down at most dealers.
Another new thing we've got here, and you can see I'm in a zero-turn lawnmower, but a little different on this one. Instead of just a canopy, we have a full cab. Air conditioning. We just came from outside, it's hot. This is gonna be cool in here when you cut grass. So you need this. You really, really, really need this. Kubota ZD121160 mower with a full air-conditioned cab. We have it in stock today at Davini. So if you want to cut grass, because it's hot outside, in the cool, come see us today. You can buy this one today. So.
What is a follower of Jesus? Matthew chapter 4, 18 and 19, verse 18. And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw 2 brothers, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Then he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. They immediately left their nets and followed him. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. We look to him for everything. We understand who he is, the magnitude of what he is and what he's done for us. But he says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And kind of like Terry said, if you're not fishing, you're really not following. Think on that today. Country Pleasing sausage. It's the best I've ever eaten, and I believe you'll feel the same way if you try it. Some of my favorite flavors are jalapeno and cheddar, pepper jack and green onion, and of course the original smoked sausage flavor. Look for Country Pleasing in grocery stores and Walmart all over the Southeast and online at countrypleasing.com.
So if you're looking for a big skid steer, we've got it. So this is the New Holland 362C machine. 16,000 pounds. It is an absolute monster. Everything on the inside is digital controls. We've got this one configured with a Lofness 71-inch high-flow cutter head. So you can go out and maintain property, trees, brush, underbrush. It will absolutely do the job for you. So if you're looking for a big skid steer with a cutter head to go out mulching, we've got you covered. Come see us.
The Zone 105.9 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At the Zone 105.9.com.
Yeah, let's go. Light this candle. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau across the great state of Mississippi. Welcome in. I've been corrected. I'll give you that information. I've been corrected on Twitter. I needed it. Need all the help I can get, Brian. Thank you very much. We're off and running with you here in hour number 2. We talked a lot about Jackson State football in hour 1 because today's a cool day for them. They're on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. Coach Prime, his son Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter, the big-time recruit, they're on the cover. They talked about him on Good Morning America. Michael Strahan got him some nice brand new Michael Strahan suits with the JSU logo on it to wear. I mean, it's a really cool thing. And the momentum in terms of just positive momentum that they have right now is it's darn near overwhelming is what it is. It's a lot of fun to be around and observe and watch and root for. So we talked about that, looked ahead at the schedule. Oh, and I added, hey, if you're new here to the show in hour 2, if you just tuned in, I got a new JSU Sonic Boom sound clip that we've added to the soundboard. Here it is.
You know what time it is.
Everybody. Yes, sir. If that doesn't light your fire, your wood's wet. They know how to do it at halftime of a Jackson State football game. Y'all need to look that one up on YouTube and look. The guys there, Bam was leading that. He did a little pan around, 360 around the stadium. And good night. And this was right at the end of their halftime show. And so it was a home team. And you could see right at the end of that, out came the JSU captain or captains. They have to come out, meet with the officials before the start of the second half. And they're walking out. I'm thinking, and they're in their uniform about to play. And I'm thinking, man, if you're a football player, how do you not get a jolt of adrenaline when you walk out into that at the end of your halftime? I just think it's outstanding. Okay. And so that's sort of recap of hour 1. We also had the countdown of 90 teams in 90 days. And the team today, number 86, was Colorado. I started going through things. When I think of Colorado football that pops up, their uniforms are black and gold, the beautiful scenery, their stadium. They used to have the old AstroTurf, but number 1 is Ralphie, the Buffalo mascot, all this. And I mentioned Cordell Stewart and Westbrook. Did I say Russell Westbrook? I think I meant Michael Westbrook. I think I said Michael Westbrook. I know the difference, but I think I said Michael Westbrook. Anyway, but Brian corrected me on Twitter. He says the Colorado team that won a national championship in 1990 was led by Darian Hagan at quarterback and Eric Bieniemy at running back. He says Michael Westbrook wasn't on that team, neither was Cordell Stewart. They were both freshmen in 91. So it would have been a few years after that. But that Cordell Stewart, who was they beat? Was it Michigan that he threw the Hail Mary against? That we don't need to forget. We're starting to let, because it was early 90s, we're getting away from it a long time ago, we're starting to let those things die a little bit. The Flutie, remember the Doug Flutie for Boston College, Hail Mary against Miami? We don't need to let that die. The Cordell Stewart, game winner, Hail Mary against, or was it Notre Dame? Who did they beat, Notre Dame or Michigan with that? See, I don't even remember. But it's one of those. We don't need to let that stuff die. Keep it up. Keep batting that beach ball up in the air. We'll do our part here. You go look it up on YouTube. Thank goodness for YouTube, huh? We don't have to remember much because we have YouTube and Wikipedia? Joseph looked it up. Facebook. He commented here, 94 Buffaloes finished 12-1, and only loss was to Nebraska. Yeah, you know why they lost to Nebraska? Tommy Frazier. Unstoppable. That's right. Beat Florida in the national championship game. Okay, and Joseph also confirmed that the Cordell Stewart Hail Mary was against Michigan. There you go. Something, light bulb still flickers every now and then up here in the old can. And it still flickers every now and then. Y'all feel free to be a part of the show. Text me on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. It is the best. Look for the Red Hawk, like the one on my hat right here. You can get it in grocery stores. I get mine in Walmart. We had somebody recently that tweeted me who was in Oklahoma and found it on a grocery store shelf in Oklahoma. Hey, and look, Southeast, they're coming to the SEC. Send them some sausage. Somebody from Knoxville, buddy of mine, Chase Thomas up there, big podcaster in Knoxville. Chase Thomas, he sent me a picture. It's in his grocery store up there in Knoxville. You can get it everywhere. You can also order it online, so try that. If you haven't already, just go to countrypleasin.com and get some right there. It's really, really good.
And don't forget, when you're at the Mississippi Braves game, get you one of them.
Get a sausage dog at a baseball game.
That's slaw on there.
It is fantastic with that slaw on it. Hey, and I know, look, I'm a weirdo. I'll admit it. But I buy the sausage dog like at Mississippi State baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't eat the bun. I just eat the sausage with the slaw on
everything
it.
Else. Yeah, the slaw. Yeah. And how many bites does it take?
3. Technically 3.
It takes me back to the Tootsie Pop. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
That's right.
1.
That's right.
2.
Gone.
It's 3. 3 of those big old bites.
Don texted the show. Don says, who is Jackson State's biggest rival, Alcorn or Southern? Well, I will tell you, based on what people have said to us today on the show as we've talked about Jackson State, and it does go back to some of the things that happened in and around that game last year in Baton Rouge, which some pointed that out. They make it sound like that right now Southern. See, last year, if you'd asked me that, I would have asked you if people didn't feel like it was Alabama A&M because of the comments by the Alabama A&M coach about Deion Sanders. Remember that? He was really brash. You remember? But, and then again, historically, you would think certainly Alcorn. But over the years, that has kind of gone up and down and up and down.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when the Southern folks come to town with all those flags and stuff on their cars, and man, you talk about some JSU fans getting ready to go.
Yeah, so it must be Southern.
Yeah, I think it's Southern.
You'd say it's Southern.
I really do.
Yeah,
because they come to town and just try to take over, and yes, JSU folks don't like that.
Yeah. Phantom of the Popper is a video game fan, and he texted and said the old EA Sports NCAA football games used to have all those legendary plays that you had to try to complete, and he said it was amazing. So, like, you would turn it on, I guess. I didn't know because I didn't play the games. But he's saying, I guess you would turn it on, and in the video game, you got to try to be Cordell Stewart and complete the Hail Mary, or Doug Flutie and complete the Hail Mary. And that's pretty neat. Jason in Flagstaff. Yeah, he points out Coach Bill McCartney. Love that man's ministry with Promise Keepers. A huge, huge deal for him and really for men in the entire country. Promise Keepers. Bill McCartney, the longtime legendary football coach at Colorado. So yeah, there you go. We had a little bit of all of that in hour number 1. And now we have a phone call on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, the oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., in fact, means they've been doing it better, longer than anyone else right here at home at Davini. On line 1, Mad Tiger. What's up, Mad Tiger? Good to hear from you.
Hey, Matt, Bill.
Hey.
Alcorn is Jackson State arch rival, just like Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Southern is a rivalry, but there for a while we beat Southern 18 years in a row before our program started going down. But Alcorn is our arch rival.
Okay.
Southern, we like kicking Southern's butt, but you can't go to Baton Rouge and enjoy yourself at a game without all the hoopla and bottles throwing, and it's a crazy situation down there. If y'all think LSU fans are crazy, Southern is just as bad, if not worse.
Okay.
But Alcorn is Jackson's arch rival.
Okay.
And
what
we just like kicking Southern.
What Mad Tiger, in the Jackson State Alcorn rivalry right now, how would you describe it? I know it's putting you on the spot a little bit, but like if somebody were to ask you, like, what's the best way to describe the atmosphere in the Jackson State Alcorn rivalry right now? Like, how would you describe that?
It has changed somewhat over the years. They went on a tear there after McNair, and they beat us kind of regular, you know. But it's always been back and forth.
Yeah. But I mean, like the fan bases. I mean, like the opposing fan bases. They friendly?
Because, yeah, it's all friendly, but there's trash talk year round. I trash talk with every Alcorn person that I see. Even if I see an Alcorn tag, I'll tell them I can get you a JSU tag if you want it on your vehicle, you know.
Sure, yeah.
But it's a year-round thing, and then it's just like Ole Miss and State. You got Alcornites that married Jacksonians, you know. It's just as legit as Ole Miss and State.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's always back and forth.
Yeah.
But we really don't have any respect for Southern. We just try and do them in every time we play them because of their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
But Alcorn, Jackson, it's a friendly, but the atmosphere is just off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just unreal. And all the events that go along with that game when we play them, golf tournaments, and when they're in Jackson, it's just a big deal. Now, when Walter Reed used to, I guess you could say he was a promoter. He used to be Jackson State's athletic director. And they used to play here in Jackson every year. They did that for about 10 years. And it's just a friendly back and forth year-round, not just during football season. It's year-round.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I don't even think it's close. I mean, don't get me wrong. We get up to play Southern to beat them just to shut their mouths up. But the Alcorn-Jackson game is a big deal.
And on a side note, this is jumping subjects here, but we just got a comment on Facebook, Mad Tiger, from Hunter, who he commented, he said JSU's game this year versus Campbell University, which that's the Campbell Camels, he says in October is intriguing. Both programs finished 1 and 2 in the FCS recruiting rankings, and he thinks the game will come down to coaching. I didn't realize, I'm aware of Campbell because of their baseball team. They got a really good baseball team and a good program. They were in the postseason in Starkville last year. They were in the postseason in Knoxville this year, but I was not aware of their football program, and I certainly didn't know they recruited well compared to other FCS teams. So that could be a big game late on the schedule this year.
It could be, and they do have a good coaching staff. I've done some research on them, and they were one of the top 5 schools in the FCS as far as the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And Florida A&M didn't do bad either. That first game at A&M, I mean, at Florida A&M is going to be probably, I'm going to say it's going to be Jackson's toughest test of the year, that very first game.
Uh-huh.
Now,
Well,
Campbell is just putting their program together, but they have good coaches, and they recruited extremely well this past year.
Yeah. Well, and, you mentioned Florida A&M in that first one. I bet it won't be 7-6 this year like it was last year. That's what I bet.
I don't think it will be.
I don't think so either. I think, the two offenses.
I don't think it will be.
Well, both of them, offenses progressed throughout the year last year. And then, like you said, they've added players. So it's going to be an exciting deal to watch that again. That first Sunday. So Sunday, September 4th is when that's scheduled. Looking forward.
Correct.
Looking forward to that. Mad
I got
Tiger.
one more comment.
Okay, yeah, go right
If you don't
ahead.
mind.
Go right ahead.
One quick one, real quick. Yesterday, I wanted to call in. Y'all were talking about the greatest games. I've seen some awesome games up in Memorial Stadium there at Jackson. I got to see State and Southern Mississippi when Lewis Lips, Sammy Winder, and Reggie Collier and the rest of those guys played. It was a sight to see. Bobby Collins was a great coach, man. He really was.
Yeah.
He ran into I don't know if he knew what he was getting into when he went to SMU or not, but
Right.
you know, he took the brunt of all of that, but all of that was going on before he got there.
It is so true. When you watch that documentary that ESPN did, Mad Tiger, about the Pony Express, you know, in SMU when they got the death penalty, he went there, but anybody that tried to make it out to be a thing where he went there and instigated anything is crazy. It was all boosters and big money people. They were going to do all that regardless of who the coach was. So it was bad timing
Correct.
on
And
his
he was
part.
doing it before he got there.
That's it. Yeah, before he got there. So maybe it was just a bad decision on his part to go. But you're right. He was a fantastic coach. You know, and I saw a picture recently, Mad Tiger, of back when Bobby Collins was the head coach at Southern Miss. It was a picture of the coaching staff, and Mac Brown was on his staff at Southern Miss. That was, you know, just 10, 15 years before he went to be the head coach at Texas and then retired. Now he's the head coach at North Carolina. But Mac Brown was on his staff there at Southern Miss for a little while.
He was, and I want to say he went to Tulane after he left USM as the head coach.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah,
I think he went to Tulane after he left USM.
Yep. Hey, good stuff. Always good to hear from you.
Man.
Yes, sir. Call me.
Sir.
Call me anytime. And so so it's like State and Ole Miss year round. Hey, I see your Ole Miss tag there. You want me to get you a maroon and white State tag? You know they sell those. Same thing, Jackson State and Alcorn year round. All right, over to line 2, JSU 1 on line 2. Howdy, what's up?
What's going on there? I was just listening to you talk to Mad Tiger there.
He always educates me. Mad Tiger is one of those where, you know, we probably ought to make him an offer. You know what I mean? And get him on here all the time. Because he's a lot better talker and full of a lot better information than I am. I always enjoy hearing from him.
But you did hear about Dion, Chidora, and number one recruit are going to be on Sports Illustrated next month, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw that. They're going to be on the cover. We talked about that in the first hour, JSU. That's kind of what got us on the subject, because I saw it today and I thought, man, the momentum that they have behind that football program right now just won't stop. It just keeps going. Now they're on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That's a first for them, you know. And like you said, it's Travis Hunter, Shadur, Dion there. You had Michael Strahan on Good Morning America talking about it. They put them up on the marquee on Times Square and they showed it on TV. It's just incredible, the momentum that they have behind that program and the players and everything, and their social media accounts. JSU 1, when you go and you look at the promotion and the way they kind of continue to put out positive content on social media, I'm not sure. There are schools and athletic departments in the FBS that aren't doing near as good a job at promoting their program as Jackson State has people doing. They just got a lot going for them right now.
And now all that they're going to do is help recruiting.
That's it. And that's what it's for. I mean, the social media stuff, that's the reason to do it, you know?
So you probably going to see a lot more 4 and 5 coming over that way.
Well, and that's the key, JSU 1, because what I was going to say, I got a comment just a little bit ago here on the live stream on YouTube. Someone named Coop DeVille said, hey, I'm not trying to be rude, but is Jackson State going to be good? If they played in the FCS playoffs, they'd probably get beat by teams like Southeastern Louisiana, like FAMU. But see, the thing is, JSU 1, that's what we're talking about is they've already done it in 2 cycles now, adding these transfers from like Tennessee and South Carolina and Auburn. They're doing it again. And now they've recruited a 5-star player out of high school. They're already to a point where they've added enough talent to that roster where I bet if they played in those playoffs, it could be a little bit of a different story than it has been in the past. That's what I think. And
I definitely believe that.
Yeah. And who knows win or lose? I mean, I know they lost a bowl game, but the point is they're just getting started. That's the point.
All right. I just like, even with the ULM game, that game could have went either way.
It could have. Right.
If I said if they had the talent they got over there right now, and they played that same ULM team, I believe they'll beat them.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, that was week 2 of the season last year, I think.
2 or 3.
2 or 3. It was early. It was early, and so they played Florida A&M in week 1, scored 1 touchdown. Well, if they play them right now, Florida A&M's not holding them to 1 touchdown, and being held to a touchdown by ULM, they came a long way just as a team, as a program, and it really was kind of just the start. And I think they've added players this year. Your quarterback's a year older. Hunter's going to play both sides of the ball for you. That's the 5-star you're talking about. They're just going to be a better football team. That's what I think. Hey, let me ask you one question. I got 20 seconds. Jackson State averaged 42,000 per game for home games in attendance last year.
Right.
Do you think it'll be 50,000 a game this year?
It's a good possibility because you got to look at the home games. It's Grambling, Campbell,
Southern.
Yep. And what is it? Is it Alabama State or Alabama A&M?
Yeah, Alabama A&M.
Now Alabama A&M is going to be down to Alabama. We got that with a classic type thing.
Yeah.
But I forgot who the 4th one. Now, there's always Grambling, Southern, and
Campbell. It's a good home slate. You're right, and they could average it.
It could easily average close to 50.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate the phone call. Thank you.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Get this handsomely designed Timex self-wind. Is priced at only $14.95.
Hey guys, here at Davini, here's something we've got going on all our trailers. So we carry Orange Line, we carry Premier, we carry Performance, and we carry Texas Bragg. So all different sizes, shapes, configurations, from 20-foot trailers to dump trailers to 12-foot trailers, 10-foot trailers, we've got it all here at Davini. We not only sell trailers outright, but we also have a rent-to-own program. You guys could come in, 10% down, no credit check. You can leave out today with a trailer at a low price, monthly payment, no credit check at all. So you guys come check out our trailers. We have a lot of them here, and they're ready to go.
In insurance, it's our job to handle storms. And though coronavirus is a storm different than most, the agents, adjusters, and employees at Farm Bureau Insurance stand ready to extend a hand, love our neighbors, and work earnestly to serve our customers and communities. Our mission hasn't changed, so our work does not stop. If you need us, call your local agent, use the claims hotline, or visit us online. Be safe, stay healthy, keep Mississippi strong, and go with the home team.
I don't like to say house divided. I like to say we have best of both.
Growing up in Alabama obviously puts college football in your lap at an early age. You go to even preschool, and kids are like, who do you pull for? Alabama or Auburn.
So I was elected homecoming queen in the year 2000 at Ole Miss, and that was a really fun experience. It garnered a nickname for me from Matt. He calls me HQ, and I call him QB a lot. So
my name's Matt Wyatt. I host the Matt Wyatt radio show and podcast, and I host it in a studio in my house, and I've been doing that now for about 3.5 years. We used to have cable. And the biggest issue was when there would be a disconnect, and at times it would do that. I'd be mid-sentence, we're in this big discussion about some ball game, and it's gone. Annabeth can tell you, my excitement was genuine when I started seeing the C-Spire trucks up and down the street.
He was like a kid on Christmas morning. He's like, did you see that? C-Spire is in the neighborhood.
So the day that he installed that, I started uploading. And I watched those 6 audio files go. I mean, just one after the other. And it's taken away a lot of these, the little stressors that would add up.
And it's just made everything better.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Homecoming Queen. Good to see you. Country Pleasing Sausage. It's the best I've ever eaten, and I believe you'll feel the same way if you try it. Some of my favorite flavors are jalapeno and cheddar, pepper jack and green onion, and of course the original smoked sausage flavor. Look for Country Pleasing in grocery stores and Walmart all over the Southeast and online at countrypleasing.com. New King James Bible, Matthew chapter 4. What is a follower of Jesus? Matthew chapter 4, 18 and 19. Terry Fant, the pastor at Hickory Ridge, said this, and I think he's exactly right. Verse 18, and Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brothers, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Then he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. They immediately left their nets and followed him. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. So if you and I are following Jesus, what does it mean to be a follower of Jesus? We're following his teachings. We're studying that. We look to him for everything. We understand who he is, the magnitude of what he is and what he's done for us. But he says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And kind of like Terry said, if you're not fishing, you're really not following. Think on that today.
Right here, right now on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Here we go. Will had to go ahead and bring it up. He's watching on the YouTube live stream. He says, would Coach Prime jump from JSU to FSU if Norvell is ousted after this year? I think he would. And Dunzo Phillips, he said Prime isn't going to FSU. Well, and hey, look, who knows what's going to happen this year? I do know that I've seen Coach Norvell's name at FSU on some of those hot seat rankings for whatever that's worth, but I have seen some of that out there. Let's go back to the phone line, Davini Equipment phone line, Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, Patrick from Hattiesburg, hanging on line one of the Davini phone. I appreciate you hanging on, Patrick. Thank you.
Matt White, long time no hear from. What's going on, buddy?
Man, I tell you, I've been sitting here today, and it's almost been an hour and a half of Jackson State talk. I saw the Sports Illustrated cover thing earlier today, and then I got to looking at this. I got to looking at the schedule. And in recent days, we talked about some of the transfers they got, one from Tennessee, one from South Carolina. And it just, it's sort of a big rolling ball of momentum right now that is leading into this next season for Jackson State.
It is. And you know what? Even though I wasn't going to touch on it, but I will say a little something about it. I hope all these JSU fans and alumni are soaking this up, putting it in a bottle, and just enjoying these times, because he's really been good at school. Even if he lose, I'm sure there'll be some backlash if he ever decides to leave, and things don't last forever. But I can tell you one thing: he does deserve a lot of pats on the back and handshakes for putting excitement back and trying to help this program. And I think his heart and his mind and body and soul is in the right place. Mm-hmm. And God bless Dion. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Even if he does move on, God bless him.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Well, and I've said this before too, Patrick. And I think he's genuine in the way he carries himself and what he's trying to do, and making his faith and talking openly on social media and elsewhere about his relationship with God, his relationship with Jesus, the fact that that's a part of what he's trying to do in his program. I really appreciate that, from him. It makes I
really appreciate it too.
It makes me it makes it that much easier to kind of root for him and want to see him have some success, and that's just me.
It is. Thanks for talking about that, man. I got about 3 or 4 things. Since I don't never call as often as I should.
No problem.
If you don't mind laying out for me. Lay out with me, producer. All right. First thing, man, when I hear Tiger, he warms my heart too. I don't call a lot, but I listen a lot. And man, Tiger is a bastion of information. And I want to throw some 2 cents in on this. Man, I remember watching the Ole Miss beat Notre Dame. I remember State beating Alabama 6-3. I mean, I remember all them good games in Jackson, and some of those games I was at.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember those good old days. Those cut-off shirts where you got your belly button showing. And man, I used to cut my T-shirts off and go out there and play in the yard. I mean, these kids got video games, but man, when we were growing up, we got in the yard and we became these people.
Mm-hmm.
We were the athletes that they play with on the video game.
That's right.
And I don't know if kids do that these days. You know, they really don't. But we did. We got out in the yard and pretended to be these people.
You are exactly right, Patrick. When I was a kid, we had a whole like sandlot neighborhood thing growing up when I was a kid up in Russellville. And I'll never forget it. I mean, my next door neighbor was a huge Cowboys fan. We were just kids and we played pickup football. And he would always say before the game start, he'd say, "I'm Tony Dorsett." And I would say, all right, I would always say, all right, I'm Derek Thomas. And it was, you know, we picked
it
our
didn't
favorite.
matter about your race or none of that.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't matter about race or none of that. And I tell you what, Matt, the one thing that warms me when I see the Peyton Manning, Eli stuff, I love it when they're in the yard and Eli and Peyton is crying, talking about they're out in the yard playing. I think about that's me and my cousins out there playing and stuff. A couple things, Matt, real quick, if I could. One, Bobby Collins now. I'm friends with the Collins family. I know him well. But I got to call a spade too now.
Okay.
Now, he's a good man, good football coach, did what he had to do, and I'm sure he wasn't the only one. And he did inherit a mess at SMU, but he left a mess at USM too, and they got on probation because of some things his boosters were doing. Don't know if he was doing it, but I know that he got in some problems at USM, so he's not squeaky clean. Now, don't talk like he's totally innocent, because he wasn't.
Okay.
Now, in leaving, I want to leave you with this. I can't wait till the weekend, brother. I'm down here in Hattiesburg. You thought it was fun down here last weekend, LSU. I can't imagine how much fun it's going to be this weekend when Ole Miss come to town. And I'm going to tell you something. Even though I'm a USM guy, Ole Miss seemed to – I know USM want to be that team, but remember, Ole Miss was 19-1 when COVID hit. They was number 1 in the country. They didn't get to finish that season. It's been 50 years since Ole Miss been in the World Series. They barely got in the playoffs this year. They were the 64th team picked. They went down in at Miami Regional through a hurricane and went down there and didn't lose a game and scored 20-something runs in the last game and kicked behind. Now, I expect 3 games this weekend. I expect 3 games. I'm hoping my USM players win, but I'm not going to cry one bit if Ole Miss win, because Bianco Butt's been on the line. They may be the team of destiny. I'm going to be there for at least one of those games, if not 2 of them, and I can't wait to watch it.
Good stuff, Patrick. And look, it's going to you're going to have a huge crowd. It's going to be busting at the seams. People outside the stadium who can't get in, probably for both games, Saturday and Sunday. And you know what, Patrick? If somebody right now said, Matt, and put a gun to my head and said, make your prediction for that super regional, I probably would pick Ole Miss in 2 games. And, you know, I hope it goes to 3 so that we get to experience all that. It wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit if Southern Miss wins it at home. They have had such a great year. They're easy to pull for. I love Scott Berry. But Ole Miss just has that look right now. They just have that look of that SEC team that's coming to life at the right time. And so that's probably what I would pick as Ole Miss in 2. I appreciate the phone call, Patrick. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you. Appreciate the call. And I want to put this in there too. This is a name that Patrick and Mad Tiger and everybody in JSU1 who's called are going to know this name. And I'm just seeing it on Facebook from Hunter's comment. I didn't see it like on Twitter or anything, but Hunter is saying on Facebook that the New Orleans Saints have just announced that Fred McAfee is their newest Hall of Fame inductee. He says, what an honor for a Choctaw great, Fred McAfee from Philadelphia High School, Philadelphia, Mississippi. Played at Mississippi.
I'm wearing Mississippi College hat right now.
You're wearing a Choctaw hat?
Yeah, I'm wearing a Choctaw hat right
Played
now.
at Mississippi College. He was a 6th-round draft pick back in 1991. And, 2 different stints for the Saints. Started his career with the Saints for 3 or 4 years there. Bounced around Arizona, Pittsburgh, Tampa, and then came back and played 7 more seasons for the Saints in the early 2000s. He was an All-Pro, made a Pro Bowl. He had a great year in 2002. So, attaboy. Hometown guy.
Good player, yeah.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Heck of a career. Running back, special teams guy. Going into that Saints Hall of Fame. How about that? How about 2 people from the state of Mississippi, played in college ball in Mississippi, both played running back for the Saints, and now both about to be in their Hall of Fame, and that's Fred McAfee and Deuce McAllister. That is really cool stuff.
That's good company there.
So, I would say so now. I would say that is definitely good company. Hey, so a little bit ago, on the YouTube live stream, they were like, would Deion Sanders leave Jackson State to go to Florida State if they fire, Jay Norvell? And somebody said, yeah. And then somebody said, no, he won't go. Will commented and said, for $4 million a year? Heck yeah, he'd go. Aaron says, what is your bold prediction for state this year? Oh, well.
Okay.
Okay. For state football? Well, how long till the break?
About a minute or so.
30 seconds?
Yeah. Well, we can always make it as much as you need, Matt, if you'd like to talk about that for a while.
We're good. I really need to get familiar with the schedule, look ahead. I think State's going to be – they're going to be a little more potent this year on offense than they were even a year ago. And that's even losing Mekhi Polk, but overall – and losing Charles Cross. But overall, they're going to be a little more consistent. That's why, last year you had a first-round offensive tackle, you had a great receiver in Polk, and then they flashed. They would flash at the end of the game against La Tech, 21 unanswered, and then the third quarter against Auburn, down 28 to whatever, and come back and win the game. They would flash, but they were also very inconsistent. But this year they're going to have some consistency and potency about them on offense that they haven't had. That's going to be fun to see. And they are better, and their personnel is actually much better on defense than a lot of people realize. So the problem is they play in the SEC, and they've got Georgia on the schedule this year, so the win totals may not actually be that much different. But they're going to be a little bit better football team than they were a year ago, and more consistent. They're going to give you some high moments. They can avoid the lows. That'll be the key. A little bit of time left. I've got stories out of Starkville and Oxford for you next, and we'll wrap things up. In the Bureau, stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
The better way to put words on paper. A remarkable electric typewriter, the IBM Selectric. This is what makes it different. An ingenious printing element that works faster than the eye can see.
What is a follower of Jesus? Matthew chapter 4, 18 and 19, verse 18. And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw 2 brothers, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Then he said to them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. They immediately left their nets and followed him. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. We look to him for everything. We understand who he is, the magnitude of what he is and what he's done for us. But he says, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And kind of like Terry said, if you're not fishing, you're really not following. Think on that today.
The IBM Selectric is versatile, too. From many different snap-on, snap-off elements, you can select the best type style for the job and be ready to type again in seconds.
Country Pleasin' sausage. It's the best I've ever eaten, and I believe you'll feel the same way if you try it. Some of my favorite flavors are jalapeno and cheddar, pepper jack and green onion, and of course the original smoked sausage flavor. Look for Country Pleasin' in grocery stores and Walmart all over the Southeast and online at countrypleasin.com. My favorite coffee in the world is from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. My friend Dan the Coffee Man and his crew keep me caffeinated with the best flavors and blends that you're going to find anywhere, like Campfire Blend, Magnolia, and the classic New Albany Blend. Try it. Go to highpointroasters.com today and order some. You won't regret it.
Hey guys, it's Jonathan over here at Davini. Just going to show you a new tractor we just got in. So not only do we offer a full line of Kubota, New Holland, Toro, new equipment, we also carry lots of used stuff. So we just got this one in. This is a Kubota M7060 low hours, even got Bigfoot on the side of it. Not only new stuff, we do carry a lot of used equipment that goes through our shop, save some money, from buying something new. But check us out on our website, www.davini.com. We keep a full list of everything we've got used on there, as well as some new specials too. But yeah, check us out, man. Check us out if you guys are looking for something used.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
In insurance, it's our job to handle storms. And though coronavirus is a storm different than most, the agents, adjusters, and employees at Farm Bureau Insurance stand ready to extend a hand, love our neighbors, and work earnestly to serve our customers and communities. Our mission hasn't changed, so our work does not stop. If you need us, call your local agent, use the claims hotline, or visit us online. Be safe, stay healthy, keep Mississippi strong, and go with the home team.
My name's Matt Wyatt. I host the Matt Wyatt radio show and podcast, and I host it in a studio in my house, and I've been doing that now for about 3.5 years. We used to have cable, and the biggest issue was when there would be a disconnect, and at times it would do that. I'd be mid-sentence, we're in this big discussion about some ball game, and it's gone. Annabeth can tell you, my excitement was genuine when I started seeing the C-Spire trucks up and down the street. And
like a kid on Christmas morning. He's like, did you see that? C-Spire is in the neighborhood.
So the day that he installed that, I started uploading, and I watched those 6 audio files go, just one after the other. And it's taken away a lot of the little stressors that would add up.
And it's just made everything better.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Homecoming Queen. Good to see you. Here we go. All right, rolling along with you here. Aaron said, oh, come on, Matt. Didn't hear anything bold. Yeah, that's not me. It either is or it isn't. I'm not. My goal, Aaron, is not to factor in whether it's bold or not before I say it. Like about 99% of our sports media these days, especially those that out here talking like me, we have to actually move our mouth and say words. And the approach is, well, I'm in this business to get attention and to get clicks. So whether I believe it or not, whether it's true or not, what can I say that is bold? I don't care if it's bold or not. To me, the truth is about as bold as it needs to get. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. That's how I feel about it. Sven says on YouTube, 7 to 8 wins for state. Yeah. Yeah. You got to factor in 2 losses, Alabama and Georgia. But then, you say that and then you hope you're wrong. There's some massive upset in there somewhere. And with an offense can get hot, maybe there is one. But at least looking at it on the front end, you factor those 2 as losses and then go from there. Okay, so that now you got 10 games left. So you're saying, well, what are the other 2 losses in there? You got LSU on the schedule and stuff like that. The Egg Bowl's on the road. Hadn't beat Leach hasn't beaten Kiffin yet. Those kinds of things. Factor all those in. So that's where that is. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Matt.
Check this out. Now, I don't have a clip to play to illustrate this, but I was just going to mention it real quick. There's 2 things. On this day in 1972, Elvis Presley made entertainment history by performing 4 sold-out shows at New York's Madison Square Garden. In attendance, George Harrison, John Lennon, David Bowie, Bob Dylan, and Art Garfunkel. They attended some of his shows just to watch.
Yeah. Everybody loved the King.
The shows were recorded and became the album called Elvis as Recorded at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if I've ever heard that or not. There's a chance. Turn on the Elvis channel on radio and you just might get some of that. So there's a Mississippian. We're talking about McAfee in the Saints Hall of Fame, Mississippian. Joins Deuce in their Hall of Fame, Mississippian. Louvier texts me to remind me that Archie and Joe Horn, also Mississippians, in the Saints Hall of Fame.
If DeMario Davis hangs around long enough, another
He
probably end up in the Hall of Fame.
That's right. I think they ought to put Louvier in the Saints Hall of Fame.
There
He's
you
been
go.
driving
Louvier
a bus.
should be
Man.
there.
Yeah, I mean,
Bus driver.
Fred McAfee called him Fast Freddie. See, Louvier remembers his nickname, Fast Freddie.
Yeah.
He said he's a great guy, too. Here's another one. I was just going to mention this to you just because I couldn't wrap my head around it. Bill, on this day in 1994, now listen to the details of this. After an argument, TLC singer Left Eye, that'd be Left Eye Lopez, set fire to her boyfriend's Atlanta mansion
He sure did.
worth $2 million, burning it to the ground. That happened on this day, June the 9th.
She definitely did it. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
June the 9th, 1994. Now, here's the last line. You ready for this? Listen.
Yeah.
She was charged with arson and fined $10,000 with 5 years probation. Now, hold on, time out. I am not a legal expert. I don't know anything about penalties and law. I would never know. I don't even know what to compare it to. I'm just saying on the surface, I would think that burning a $2 million mansion to the ground would get you more than a $10,000 fine and 5 years of probation. That's all I'm saying. Seems like it'd bring more than that. Anyway, I just thought I'd read those to you. Found those interesting. Okay, stories. I mentioned I had some stuff for you out of Starkville and Oxford. So I'm going to mention it here at the end of this show. And then let's kind of think on it. And then this may be a topic for tomorrow. Here's what I mean by that. Okay, first up, Ole Miss.
Oh, wait. I want to tell you something. We had a phone call that wanted to remind us that burning of that $2 million mansion was live on CNN at the time.
Yeah, everybody watching it.
Yeah, they were watching it live. He was calling me. You might have been talking about what he was calling me, but
but what I'm saying
we
is,
knew about that.
What I'm saying, Bill, is like, really? I burned it to the ground.
Yeah.
$10,000 fine, 5 years probation. That ain't it. That's it. I mean, honestly, I would have thought it would have carried a harsher penalty. That's all.
Yeah. Or she tragically was killed later.
That's right. Tragically.
In a car accident. Yeah.
Okay. So no, back over to sports. Here's the story out of Oxford. This is a couple days ago, but we didn't mention it here. Ole Miss Athletics currently in the middle of a big capital campaign called Champions Now. It's focusing on a facility upgrade for multiple sports, including Vaught Hemingway Stadium. We've known about it. We've seen the plans, the home of Rebel football, the stuff they're going to do. Ole Miss released a statement citing the changing landscape of college athletics for a timeline adjustment on the upgrades to the football stadium. Listen to what Keith Carter, the athletics director, said. While the timeline is being adjusted, we look forward to seeing Vaught Hemingway and the rest of our facility progress all become reality in the years ahead. But listen to this. Keith Carter said, college athletics has seen tremendous priority shifts in recent months, which affect our campaign strategy. Those changes are coupled with global financial obstacles related to interest rates, construction costs, supply chains, etc. He said, in addition, more foundation dollars are needed to assist teams with their growing operations budgets that are being impacted by inflation. So you think about what's going. This is one little teeny tiny grain of sand that's being thrown over here on a pile that we're going to look, and it's going to be a big issue, I'm afraid, going forward, at least for a little while. But you got an athletics department in the middle of a capital campaign like Ole Miss. They want to operate. I mean, they want to, they've got a timeline for where they're going to improve the football stadium, but they've gone throwing the brakes on it. And he's citing priority shifts in recent months in college athletics, which affect our campaign strategy. You got to pay players. So a lot of the alumni that are going to donate to a capital campaign might be saying, hey, listen, wouldn't my money in today's climate be better served at actually helping to get name, image, and likeness deals to get transfers and get players and keep players, as opposed to putting a new facelift on the press box or something, or more suites? We ain't going to sell them anyway. Why aren't we going to sell tickets? Because gas prices are up. People have less money. Ticket prices are going up because they have to, because to operate the stadium, it costs more because everything's gone up. It's going, the supply and demand, okay, cost and return are separating and the gap's widening, and they're going, wait, this is not the time that we can do this. Construction costs, that's real. Interest rates, supply chains, all that stuff has caused them to throw the brakes on the timeline for now. But he cites it's affecting the strategy of the campaign. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And this, Mississippi State, they are opening the season against Memphis. First game of the year. They have announced in the last couple of days a new ticket package called First Saturday in Stark Vegas. It's a whole new ticket package where for $59, you get 4 tickets and a parking pass. The tickets get you in the upper side on the east, in the upper level on the east side, but which gives you access to a concession and concourse that is air conditioned. Okay, so it's this ticket package. This is the first game of the year. It's a home game. You're hosting Memphis. And it's an incentive, and there's a timeline on it. That's the other thing. You read it. State, for a period of time into July, through July 7th, the package for 4 tickets is $59. After July 7th, it goes up to $69. And then later on in August, it goes up to $79. So you can get in on it now for $59, get 4 tickets. And it's an incentive to get people in the stadium for the first game of the year, a home game, the opener. It's 2 athletics departments, 2 different things going on, but at the same time related to the same issue. And that is, things are changing fast. You got one in the middle of a capital campaign. Hey, this whole addition on the stadium deal ain't happening when we said it was. Nor does it need to. We've got to change our strategy. Money's got to go elsewhere. This, that, and the other stuff. State. Gas prices are up. We've sold less tickets. Ticket prices have to go up. It's costing more. We got to figure out a way to the remaining tickets we may have in the Upper East Side to get rid of them. We got to get people in here. What can we do? How can we package it? I mean, the parking pass alone is worth $59. You're going to see more and more of this. What does it mean going forward for college athletics? This is prior to this coming season. We'll talk about that and pick it up tomorrow. All right, for everybody here on the show, thanks for being a part of it. For Bill, I'm Matt. All of us here in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go with the home team. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. See ya.